Good morning, traders. Welcome back to the Trader Bacon Show. Happy Monday. I'm your host, Gates Adams, the Forge Trader, and we've got a phenomenal show for you today. Those are really, really glary, so I'm going to try to do this without. I hope you guys had a great week and a great weekend, and as we get loaded into a new week, we've got Veterans Day tomorrow, which I believe the New York Stock Exchange is open, but it is a bank holiday, so that leaves us with a little bit of diciness. We also have upcoming Thanksgiving. So it'll be interesting to see how these next couple of weeks unfold in the market. So we're going to talk a little bit about how everything is starting to look as we approach the end of the year as well. Also, want to let you guys know, first and foremost, about a day and a half left on the 70% off, but $40 lifetime activation on Apex Trader Funding. So make sure to go to apextraderfunding.com and use promo code Benzinga. You must pass the evaluations today to get the $40 promo, and it must be activated before midnight. It doesn't matter when you bought the evaluations. It just matters when you pass them for that $40. But of course, 70% applies. So if you just need to add some evaluations to the mix, make sure to take full advantage of those. As you can see, I am holding true with the mustache for Movember. So if you want more information on what this silliness is about, just go check me out at the Forge Trader on all the socials and all that kind of good stuff as well. I also want to let you guys know next week we're going to do something really interesting that we haven't done before. I'm going to start doing a series on some of the key factors that determine turning your trading hobby into a business. And next week, Elon is going to be my guest. He's been on the show before about a year and a half ago, and he is a statistics machine. And we're going to talk about how implementing statistics is going to make you a better trader. So make sure to come in and check that one out. We're going to probably be doing one of these about once a month moving forward, trying to get some consistency on that as well. So make sure to follow along for that as well. All of that said, today we've got Deep, the wood chopper. He is a phenomenal trader, very successful, and very, very insightful. Has had a lot of great we had a lot of great conversations about what it's taken for him to get here. He's going to share a lot of that with you, so stick around for today's episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now. Deep, good morning, my man. How's it going?
How's it going? How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Little bit of technical difficulties this morning, but I think we've got everything solidly in place, man. Hey, thank you for hanging out with us a little bit today. I know that it is not 11 o'clock your time. Again, I love it when we have traders on from overseas, because sometimes we get into some of those wee hours. I know it's not wee hours for you either, but definitely appreciate you staying up and hanging out with us today, man. How's everything going?
It's going good. Yes, about 8 p.m. here. I'm based in the UAE, and been looking forward to this chat, to be honest. I've watched your show quite a few times, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I absolutely appreciate that, and I appreciate all you guys in the chat too. Looks like we have some new fresh faces, so welcome. We love having the opportunity to impact more traders. So Deep, let's talk a little bit about the beginning stages, man. What's the origin story? How did you actually get yourself into trading in the first place?
Yeah, the very early part was actually, I was working in the asset management space. So I was in the buy side, and I worked my way up and finally got to the investment space. And I was sitting between the fund managers and the traders. So I was always fascinated about charts. I had a Bloomberg terminal, but they were fundamental investors, so they weren't really traders. So I always had this aspiration to become a trader. Never quite made it in the role, in the day job. But I promised myself that I'd go back at some point and figure out these charts and technical analysis, which actually in the long-only fund manager I was working for, they kind of frowned upon technical analysis. They didn't really use it. They thought it was kind of akin to voodoo and weird stuff on the charts. So definitely the teams I worked for. So that's how it started.
So I have to ask this question, because so many people will just assume that you were in the financial space. Everything just makes sense, right? But from what you're saying and from what I've experienced with other traders in the past, when you go from an environment that is purely fundamental, they want to know PE ratios, they want to know earnings, like they want to know all the meat and potatoes on that fundamental side. And you're right, there is a like almost this disdain for technical analysis. And when you decided to make that shift, did you have to undo a lot of knots, so to speak, in terms of like unlearning or at least not applying fundamental concepts to the technical analysis side?
Yeah, I became quite interested in crypto in the 2020-21 bull run. So I had a small portfolio, which rapidly grew during that time, obviously.
Nice.
And I guess you can't really apply fundamentals to crypto, right? It's just a story. And during that time, I probably thought I was really smart, but because everything went up, but literally everything went up. So you could have been a dummy and done pretty well. So yeah, and I think when I started learning technical analysis, which was during the Jan 21, I probably came with a bit of arrogance, to be completely frank. Like, I'm from the banking space, I'm going to get this stuff easily. Yeah, I found out pretty quick.
Well, it's interesting because I know a lot of those internal stories that we have as traders definitely we operate. I'm a prime example of that. But yours was a little different than mine. Mine was I had all of this stacked evidence that said trading is not for you, Gates. Best get out while you still have something left to eat, right? You came in from the other side. You had the confidence from being in the financial space. You had the confidence from being in that initial crypto bull run. And I've often talked about that false sense of power that I think a lot of people got during that crypto run. That, you know, they made a lot of money, and in their head, this means I'm good at this, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're bad at it, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're good if you just happen to get in at the right time, right? So, what when you got that first hit, like when you started to realize that technical analysis, day trading was a little bit different than fundamentals and crypto bull runs, how did you make that transition, and how did you stick through the challenges along the way?
Yeah, so I didn't know when to sell. So I knew that I was buying stuff. So like, when do I sell these things, right? Is there some kind of level? Is there a fundamental analysis? There's nothing there to show me when I was meant to sell things. So I started researching online. I started looking up some kind of basic technical analysis, and then I caught a guy online who is a guy called Daniel Jordan. I want to give him some props because
Yeah.
I wouldn't have learned what I know now if it wasn't for him.
Right.
So I saw that he was shorting in the middle of a bull run. I thought, what is this guy doing? He's going to lose all his money. But then he was closing out trades for large amounts, and I thought, okay,
Right.
I know something.
Mhm.
So I started learning technical analysis, the TA in around Jan 21. I immersed myself. I ended up losing most of my portfolio.
Gotcha.
Not at the fault of my teachers. It was me. It was the
Mhm.
psychology. Exactly as you said, I got
Right.
used to winning, right? Jumping
Yeah.
in the bull run. So the psychology was screwed. So eventually, I learned the hard way and had lots of ups and downs in those first few years. And I think year 3 was probably when I had my turnaround point.
Okay. Was there a moment that actually turned things around for you, or was it just a slow progression and just you started to shift the needle just the other way?
I think it was a few things. I think one, I I struggled to take losses. That was my big weakness. I just
Not
couldn't take
alone.
losses. And after multiple years of
Mhm.
trading your own capital,
Mhm.
um, and taking those losses, it's just painful, right?
Mhm.
So in Jan 24, I switched to futures. And
Right.
what futures was great about is it had multitude of prop firms that you could get access to. So instead of risking a 5K, 10K account, I was risking $100,
Yeah.
$200 in a prop, firm, in a prop
Sure.
account like Apex, for example. And that was a big game changer for me because my psychology shifted after
Mhm.
taking years of losses while you're learning, which you do.
Mhm.
Trading with $100 risk was a turning point.
Sure. That's, and that is for so many people. For so many of us, that the swings, whether they're up, down, because I had the big swing up too, right before before everything came
Mm,
crashing and burning, right? I think the emotion associated with those big swings look, it's not to say that we don't have them as prop traders, but it definitely makes them more manageable and certainly gets us further down the road. Like the reality is if you're trading, as you mentioned, 5, 10K in an account, once that's gone, there's not a lot of people who are going to take a second shot at that. But you blow a funded account, even if it's got $2,000 or $3,000 worth of profit in it, you can still get back in the game. And so I know that's been big for a lot of people. Not to sound like a super fan, but you guys know I am. So there we go. Now, that said, of course, obviously this progression has led to what I'm going to presume is a pretty solid, deep understanding of financials. So you've got the fundamental background and working in finance. You've got the technical analysis. You've had the mentor work. Let's talk about what trading strategy has actually gotten you to where you are now. Let's go ahead and pull up the charts. And let's take a look at what it is that you've been doing that's ultimately turned you into a successful paid trader.
Yeah, sure. So I try to simplify everything. My chart is super simple. The way I operate is very simple. And I see two ways of trading. Now, there's multiple more, but that's just the way I tend to look at it.
Yeah.
I see momentum and I see level-to-level trading, or could be known as reversals. I think trading reversals is a bit more risky, and you really have to know where you're taking your reversals and the levels you're looking at.
Right.
But I think momentum's a bit of an easier way to trade. So I pulled up Friday's chart, and just correct me if we're going over on time and how we're doing time-wise,
We're good.
etc.
We're good. Don't worry, I'll guide us.
Cool. So on Friday, when I would pull up the chart, for example, we opened around here. I'd instantly, my eyes just drawn on these lows. So I'm looking at this as liquidity. So we've got a literal 2 equal lows here. So liquidity for me is fuel.
Right.
So that's the context. I love the 4 hours. The 4 hours are pivots for me. So I always mark out the 4-hour lows and the 4-hour highs. So instantly I'm building context. I'm looking over here and I'm saying, okay, if we want to go higher, the market's generally a bullish market on the high time frame. If we want to go higher, we need to take this liquidity out here.
Right.
And we're hovering around the 4-hour low, and inevitably after the 4-hour close, which is at 3 a.m. UTC, we go lower. We take out the 4-hour low. So we pick up fuel. It's like going to the garage and fueling your car. Picking up the liquidity to then go higher. So I'm thinking about liquidity. It's helping me build context. Then we've got this nice bullish move. Jump in.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so we've got this nice bullish move, and then I'm looking to the left of the chart, and I'm saying, okay, so we need to hold VWAP. We've reclaimed. But what happens is we get a slight pullback, and then we take out the new 4-hour candle high. And 4-hour candles are really good to have on your chart, not only for context, but they kind of act like liquidity grabs. We grab the 4-hour high or low, and then we move. So I see that often, and that's become a bit of an edge that I like to look at on the chart. So we did exactly that. We grabbed the 4-hour high, and we grabbed this liquidity here. So then what I'm looking at is we finished the business down here. We've taken out those lows. We've got the fuel to go higher. So now I've got a bullish tendency. But now we've taken out this higher too. Then we pull back at VWAP, which we have to hold, but we don't. We lose it, right? Okay. So that's the context I'm building. So now, given that we've already taken out these lows, I'm pretty certain that this low is not going to hold here.
Right.
So I'm looking for lower. That's the picture I've built. That's the context I've given. So when we lose the VWAP, I will draw a very, and simplicity is the key again, right? Support resistance zone. We tap this area, we tap this area, we build some support, and we flip it into resistance. And then we are below the 5-minute 21 EMA. It's an EMA I like to look at to help me be guided whether we're looking bullish or bearish locally. So then we flip it, and the trend begins lower. And then what do? We again, wick, flip it, 5-minute 21 EMA, pointing lower, the trend begins lower. So I was trading this down.
Sure.
And this is a perfect example of momentum trend trading, which I think is just the easiest way to trade, to be honest. If you have a trend and if you can recognize a trend, building the context around liquidity.
For sure. Now, let me ask you a question, because at what point do we determine that? Because it's one thing to look at a completed chart. We see where it's ultimately gone. But
Of
at what
course.
point are you determining that we have not held VWAP? Obviously, it's not a wick down below it. Is it simply a candle closure? Is it displacement through it, some sort of fair value gap, or some sort of signal that we're moving with? You mentioned momentum, obviously. What ultimately triggers you to say, I'm in this?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have taken this trade here.
Okay.
This one would have been more my trade. So we've basically flipped. We've done an SR flip here. We've closed multiple candles below, and then we've got this large candles. I'm looking at the candle sizes, large candles, engulfing candles. It's telling me we are going lower and the bears are in control essentially. And then we do exactly the same thing again. So you got 1 trade, 2 trade, and 3 trades. And that's why Friday was just beautiful for me. Like, I love this stuff. I get really passionate about it. I know you do as well. Because this is, to me, like easy trading. Sorry, I don't want to say that because I'll end up screwing up the next trade that I do. But
We've all been
I
there.
know how it works. But it's nice trading. And then perhaps I can just briefly touch on the levels that I was talking about when we go to levels. So that's the kind of support and resistant flips. Now, what I love is data, right? You just mentioned somebody's coming on next week with stats. I'm going to tune in for that because I'm like a stats nerd. Like, I love it.
Does not surprise me given your background.
yeah, exactly. So Chart Champions, the group that I learned from, they're very big on levels, right? And key levels. But I didn't want to just accept levels. What I wanted to do was I wanted to say a level has to earn its place on my chart.
Okay.
And that means getting involved in data. So finding out how strong a level is. I've put up an obscure one because I know most people don't have it on their charts. And that's the reason why I put it up here, because I thought perhaps people can take something from this.
Cool.
But here's an example of where we had a really nice bounce, right? So again, we did the same thing. We rejected the 4-hour low. We had like 3 or 4 trades there. And then we're at the time point of control. Time point of control is the naked level where essentially we spent most time, and it's calculated. You can get it from Exo, Atos, or even on TradingView as well. And we got a really nice bounce here. Again, the reason why I like it so much is, did that flip? Perfect. The reason why I liked it so much, it was also a new 30-minute candle.
Okay.
So a new 30-minute candle, again, time pivots are really important to me. I love the 1 hours, 30 minutes, and the 4 hours. And if we're hitting key levels and we're taking out those lows on the 30-minute, it gives me more confidence to take the trade. And we did exactly that again at the lows. We took the liquidity, new 30-minute candle. We see that candle into the level. It closed at the teapot, and the other one took the 30-minute low, and then we got a huge bounce, and that was the low essentially.
There you go. I mean, I hate to say this because we as traders have experienced this in so many different arenas, but it almost looks so easy. We know that it's not. We know that it takes time to not just understand the concepts of the strategy, but to be able to execute them effectively, and also to be able to manage ourselves as traders as we're going through and making assessments in real time. At this point, what has this looked like for you in terms of growth? How long did it take you to get to the point where you just really felt comfortable, your energy was moving in the right direction, you felt like you were in flow, and you were seeing what it is that you look for and executing it properly in real time?
I'm coming up to my 5-year anniversary trying this thing called trading, right? And the first 3 years I was losing money. That's how it is. Year 4, I had a period of about 2 months where I was off work and I really leaned in. I was focused on props, which enabled me to kind of correct my psychology. And I thought that would be it. But I remember sending a friend a message during those 2 months just saying, like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I could do it. I thought I would have cracked it by now. And they said, look, when you're about to quit, you're usually about 2% away. So that's when I really leaned into the statistics. I think that helped me so much. And it wasn't just the data point of saying, the time point of control. I don't think it's coming up there, but that's fine. The time point of control has a 70% reaction rate. It's actually spending time looking at the chart and analyzing those candle patterns at those key levels. And that's when I think I had a bit of a turnaround. And it wasn't overnight. Look, this thing took it was painful. I blew multiple accounts. I blew personal accounts. It was year 4 I started coming to my own, and then yeah, this year was where it started becoming financially like overtook my salary.
For sure. Now, John, don't worry, it's different for everybody. And the good thing is you've already got 2.5 years of that experience behind you. So let me ask this. I love interacting with the audience. We've got some great people in there. I've asked this to multiple traders, and I almost always get the same answer, but I'm curious to hear what your take is on this. If at the beginning of this journey, beginning of actual day trading, you knew how long it would take you to get to this point. At that point, knowing what you knew then, do you think you would have still stepped in?
Probably not. No, to be honest. I was, again, like I had that arrogant mindset. I'm going to do this quicker. If it takes people 4 years, I'm going to do it in 2. Yeah, obviously that didn't happen. I think I actually took, compared to some of the traders that I'm close to, it took me a bit longer to accept the basic things like learning how to take a loss. I think that took me 3 years, Gates. Like I just could not be wrong, and
Sure.
that came with that arrogance in the background, and yeah, I had to eat humble pie a few times.
That concept goes against everything that we experience as human beings in every other area of our life, right? Usually, if something doesn't go our way, we don't get a favorable outcome, it's because we did something wrong. And if we get a favorable outcome, it's because we did something right. Trading does not have that dynamic. Now, yes, statistically speaking, over periods of time, yes, but you can do everything right and have a down day. You could do everything wrong, as I've proven multiple times over. You can do everything wrong and have a phenomenal day, which is just great for reinforcing that bad behavior, right? So the market does not care if you did what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's true. A hard thing to swallow. I think that's really tough for a lot of traders. I know that's still tough for me. And as we work through these issues, it's not about getting that perfect strategy. It's about getting a strategy that has an edge over time and executing it faithfully. And that executing it faithfully is where most of us just fight that fight. We get, 2 days in a row where we're down and we feel like we did everything right. And it's like, well, I just want to get back up to where I was. Then I'll get back to disciplined. And it's the kiss of death every single time, right? I mean, we just, this is why the market is what it is. I mean, if it was easy, we'd all be doing it, right?
Yeah, but no, it's true. And I think that's where the data and the stats really kind of helped me, because first of all, I was mainly taking level trades, like static levels. And if I knew that this level had 7 out of 10 chance of getting X amount reaction, that just gave me some peace to be like, okay, this is 3 out of the 10, right? So the next time, maybe we'll get lucky.
Right.
So I think that leaning into stats and data just kind of gave me a bit of peace. And again, I don't really take many level trades anymore. It's a lot less common because I like these momentum trades that we were talking through. So I think, thinking of things in probabilities and data, for me, it's not for everyone. It gave me a little piece to say, okay, now's not the time. I've done everything right. I did my breath work before my trading. My mindset's ready, but today's not the day.
You a Wim Hof guy?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, Wim Hof every day before I trade. Well, I virtually will not trade without it. Like that's one of my key components. It just, everything feels right at that point. So I'm going to ask you the other side of that coin, of that pivot question is, now where you are, was it worth all of the work and the fight and the frustration and all the challenges to get here?
If I try and look back and think about all the pain, but no, absolutely, without a doubt. It now is at the point where I'm making an exit plan from my work, and I'm a consultant. Like my work's good. I'm happy in my work, but the idea of trading in your own hours without a client, without having to do a PowerPoint slide, without oh gosh,
everybody knows PowerPoint.
I'm gonna delete PowerPoint forever, and without just without having any of that that kind of facing off in the workplace, the work politics,
Right.
yeah, it's bliss, the idea of that. So yeah, like I said, I've replaced my salary probably for about 6 months now, and I'm at that point where I'm just ready to scale up and continue the journey, really.
It's interesting. There's not a lot of opportunities that have the same type of opportunity trading has, especially when you start looking at Apex's 20 account possibilities. And
Mm,
yeah, I mean, that doesn't last forever, but that lasts long enough to where if you're able to get a few solid payouts at that level and start going live, that changes the dynamics. That changes that swing of the pendulum. I talk about my doubt that I would ever make it as a trader. I talk about that pretty frequently. There was a point in my head where I thought it was impossible. I can't tell you how many times I've quit the game, right?
mm,
But now that the things are moving in the other direction, now that I've seen some consistent payouts, that I've seen some absolute growth. In fact, I've seen, an income this year that's almost bigger than my biggest annual income prior to this. Now there's a different dynamic. Now I can do this. I can see the future. I can see the continued growth. And I've not had the opportunity to get multiple payouts on 20 accounts at a time because I still have discipline issues. But when you start to see the reality of what trading can do, it's very motivating. Now, you still have, to me, trading is a never-ending journey. You never stop learning, you never stop growing. The second you do, you become stagnant and things fall apart, right?
mhm.
Do you have a long-term plan? So you say you might want to sort of move out of the day-to-day job, move into trading, being a full-time trader. What does the big picture look like for you 3 to 5 years down the line, assuming everything goes the way you want to see it?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been kind of mapping that out recently,
Mhm.
trying to figure out, because right now most of my day is occupied with work, right? It's
Right.
8 hours per day, so it's hard to think beyond that.
Right.
But yeah, worth noting, I trade probably between 1 to 3 hours per day. I take one or two trades and I close out.
Right.
So that's currently my time horizon in terms of daily trading. Long term plan, yeah, I want to keep scaling. So if I can take 1 to 3 trades,
Mhm.
replace my salary, what could I do? Well, what could I do first of all with scaling up with props
Sure.
using the 20 account challenge?
Mhm.
There's more scalability there, increasing your
Right.
contract size, taking more trades in the day because you have more time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I want to get more involved in potentially managing a portfolio, my own portfolio,
Right.
using some of that fundamental knowledge to finally
Sure.
to invest in stocks.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then giving back to the community really. So I'm quite active in my community. I
Beautiful.
try and help out some of the junior traders. So that's the plan.
I love the mindset of service, and you see it so often in traders. I know there's plenty of people who don't. They just want to get their, 200-300 bucks a day and move on, right? But
Mm,
the ones that I see that really set that bar high are the ones who are not just trading themselves, but they're also giving back. And I don't think it's just the sense of generosity. I think that when we help others to grow, it forces us to grow ourselves because you can't give somebody advice and not take it yourself. At least you can't do that for very long. You can do it day to day, but you can't do it for very long. And it does help us to continue to grow and develop. I think that's one of the big growth curves that traders miss out on, which is just building that community around them. So I honor you and appreciate you for doing that because I think everybody wins. I could absolutely sit here and do this all day. I know I say this every week, but I'm already over time. So, Deep, thank you so much for hanging out and sharing some of your insights with us. I definitely want to keep in contact, and maybe we'll have you on the Forge Trader podcast, and we can go a little deeper. We don't have time limits on that one, and we can discuss some stats because I love stats. Stats are I'm not good at them, but I love what they
yeah.
potentially mean, and so
Mm,
I'd love more insight on that. For all of you out there, of course, make sure to come back next week. You're going to want to check out our official first Turning Your Trading into a Business in this, what will hopefully be a series of, monthly calls where we're going to talk about the key components that might change the way that you look at and execute trading. Somebody wants to know if you're single. She's asking for a friend.
no,
I'm
geez.
I love it. Okay. On that note, thank you guys so much. Don't forget, about a day and a half left to go get those Apex Trader funding, 70% off, $40 lifetime activation. So make sure you get those things passed today. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Deep, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and we will absolutely chat soon. I'll see the rest of you guys on the next episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Thanks for joining the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Make sure to join us next time, Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern.